Hello, and welcome back to some idiots read some kinky stuff. Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Now, unfortunately, the other compadres, they have fallen. Me and the boys back in high school, meme insert here. All this is unscripted, and we're venturing back into the stories of Wattpad and fucking I don't know. So today we're reading this amazing comic by Oceanside Yoon, or yeah Yoon, Yon, however you prefer to pronounce it. Uh, it was sent to me by one of the goons from the last video. Miku X Dr. Phil. Very, very different change in tone, I know. Part 1, Coffee Shop. Miku's point of view. Does today have to get any worse? I said that as I was cleaning up the coffee that Karen threw at me after her drink had whole milk in it instead of almond milk. Then the most handsome guy came in the store. I could tell just by the neck wrinkles, and his name was Phil. I was instantly in love with the gorgeous sack of meat. We made eyes contact and blushed. He said in a deep voice, "Good morning. I absolutely love your hair." I responded, "Why, thank you." Things got hot from there. He instantly threw me on the table and we started making out. Your manager came out and the, ma- the manager came out and yelled in fury, "You're fired!" I did not mind because I had a beautiful Phil by my side. To be continued. Chapter 2, Fun Time. When we got back to my place, he started to slowly undress me, admiring my body as he touched me all over. Phil? Dr. Phil took off his belt and slapped my naked ass with it. "It's daddy to you, baby girl. Baby girl, can you keep this a secret from my wife?" He pulled out his 9-inch cock and proceeded to shove it in my dog ass. I felt hot all over as I watched and got thirsty for Phil. I started to touch myself all over. I couldn't take it anymore. I screamed, "Daddy, please fuck me harder." He got me into position and slapped my ass a couple of times to get me ready. I was already wet and dripping, so I didn't really do much besides turn me on more. He pounded into me harder and faster each time. At first I screamed in pain, but very soon it turned into immense pleasure. "Harder, Daddy, harder." I could feel his meaty 9-inch tickling my kidneys. "Do you like that, baby girl?" he whispered in my ear with his hunky voice. "Daddy, please let me have your children," I screamed at the top of my lungs. At that moment, I really did want to have his children. With his big, warm hands, he started choking me. He said, "Don't worry, baby girl. After I'm done with you, you'll have my children, and that Karen girl will be out of my life." I really did want his wife gone. I wanted this every day. To be continued. I'm reading. It's got like 7 parts. I'm just reading. I'm just reading what it says. Chapter 3, Threesome. After a while of Phil pounding his 9-inch train into my tunnel, Karen burst into the room. "You're cheating on me?" Dr. Phil replied in his deep, sexy voice. "You want to join?" I was shocked. She said, "Of course, my nutsack." We started a threesome, and after I saw those there was no going back. I was very flustered, as I had never felt like this before. Our interweaved, and I moaned as Phil was pounding into me. "Ah, Daddy, that feels so good." I moaned in utter delight. I was melting into mommy's and she kissed me deeply. Our moans were muffled as our tongues intertwined. Daddy felt alone, so we switched places to keep everyone happy. As we parted, Phil started to let out his god moan. Karen instantly started to suck his as she did that. I went straight for her. It was the best feeling ever. Then Dr. Phil said in his deep, sexy voice, "Get over here. I want to fuck you so hard that you can't see straight." Without delay, I went over there. As he inserted his into me, I moaned loudly. Karen crawled over and started to suck my neck. I moaned again, and Karen moved down into my collar. Then my I had it had hickeys all over me, but it was worth it for what I was feeling. To be continued. Chapter 4: Pregnant. Dr. Phil divorced Karen after our threesome. 2 weeks later, it happened. I was pregnant. I immediately called Phil to tell him the news. "Phil, can we talk?" "Sure, honey. What's wrong?" I paused, worried how he'd react. "You're what, pregnant?" He started to laugh, not realizing that he just said what he just said and the possibility behind that. "Phil, I'm pregnant." I have the feeling of regret and relief, still worried about his reply. "You're pregnant?" "Yes, Phil, I'm pregnant." As I say it, I, as I say, as I thought that he would be mad. "That's amazing. I'm so happy," he says with a joyful voice. He really means it. "I'll come get you at 6 o'clock. I'll book a booth for us in the best restaurant in town." He doesn't even let me reply before he hangs up after blowing me a kiss. A couple months later, Phil finally got full custody of his 2 kids and we moved into his mega mansion and our lives are going to be great. After a couple more months of waiting, the baby was about to come. And leading up to that, here's the time we had in the car. On the way to the hospital for the twin births. "Ah, deeper, baby, deeper," I said as I overly sexualized voice. He starts to go in deeper with longer strokes. "Is that better, my love?" he whispered in my ear, then biting my lips. Yes, yes, Daddy, yes." After 5 minutes of slow, sensual he got harder and harder, pounding the inner wall of my some I started to moan louder, and for once he moans. With him on top and me not being able to see my gigantic belly, I can only rely on his moans and his strokes. He goes even harder, causing me to scream. He grabs on my arms and then flips me over to then suck his massive stick his massive 9-inch in my ass. "Daddy, harder, fuck me harder." "Shut up before Daddy comes in you." He then wraps his massive hands over my mouth, causing me to turn on even more. Then it happened. My water broke. I'm being the stupid, horny woman I am. I just thought it was my cum. But then Phil started to see something retreating from my vagina. An arm popped out, and my heart dropped. Daddy screamed and jumped up, pulling on his pants. A baby is coming out of my vagina as Daddy freaks out and he doesn't know what to do. He just tries to give me emotional support as I push out the baby. A baby boy eventually comes out. Jesus fucking Christ. What the fuck have I been reading for the past, 8 minutes? 9? Uh, what the fuck? I might have to censor this part. Yeah, that entire part about the fucking baby, I might have to just full on, I don't know, get rid of it. A baby boy eventually comes out. Phil tells the driver to get to the hospital as quickly as possible. Then I a newborn small in my Are you fucking I'm going to be honest, this is not what I expected. The fucking bastards. What the fuck? What? Yeah, great April Fools. I had to take it out because I could feel something else easing its was out of my easing its way. Quote, I can feel something else easing its was out on my vagina. Great English. It's it's I mean, there are twins? I both of the babies small. My, Jesus fucking yeah, this part is just getting fucking bleeped out. I moaned as Dr. Phil and Kieran started sucking on my fucking sucking on my tits. We are on our way to the hospital, and there is a third child. As I shoved jeez, with Phil on the other and Kieran on the other, I felt nothing like I'd ever felt before. I let out the loudest, most aggressive moan ever. A third baby? I thought you were having one, Chad said in a panicked voice. Who the fuck is Chad? This is the first mention of Chad. What the hell? In a panicked voice. Just, just fet, just fed me to the fucking hospital. 2 hours later, there were 4, then 5, then 6. 6 babies. Phil showered me with kisses while his daughters watched in disgust from the other side of the room. Phil, I don't have any names for the other 3, I said. I say in a sad tone, don't worry, baby. I have the best name. First name, Jacob. Second name, Antoine. No, Anton Antoine, I think. Third baby, Matthew. Fourth baby, Abigail. Fifth baby, Anna. Sixth baby, Ashlyn. Turns out it wasn't just one, it was 6. 6 identical babies. Months later, the babies were doing amazing. Phil's mother, Christy, came over to visit the children. She had something against me, but I'll address that later. We don't want the mega mansion and brought another house 3 times the size of it. Hired 5 maids and 5 butlers. We have all been living an amazing life. To be continued. Chapter 5. Big Daddy. It was 1 a.m. I was waiting for Daddy to get home. It's been a long time since he was supposed to come home. I was feeling thirsty for him. I walked up the stairs and went into our bedroom. I looked under the bed and quickly saw the black box. I took it out, and there was a number code needed. I tried his favorite number, and it worked. Of course it was 69. I mean, of course, it's everyone's favorite number. It's the funny number, after all. It's the only one that competes with this, 420. I took out one of my favorite toys. Ah, yes, the bullet dildo. The bullet is just like a fucking bullet bill or something. What? Or is it just the size of a goddamn bullet? I don't know. Either one of them, I don't think would be great. You'd want a bonsai bill instead. I didn't hesitate to stick it into myself. I was already wet, as I had been fingering myself before coming upstairs. It was easy to stick in it, and the metal was cool. Okay, so it's made of metal as well. I shuddered at first, but it quickly turned into pleasure. I heard the door close. I assumed it was the neighbors, and I kept doing what I was doing. I moaned softly and thrusted the dildo into myself, harder each time. Oh, baby girl, you just couldn't wait till I got home, could you? I moaned in response. He slowly started unbuttoning my shirt. You look so sexy, baby, with you already wet and sweating, naked body on display. You stared at him. Ooh, apparently I'm involved now. I'm gonna be honest, I want to get out of the situation. I don't know where I materialized from. You stared at him with hungry eyes. All that you... It said it was Miku x Dr. Phil, not Miku / the reader x Dr. Phil. Jeez. You stared at him with hungry eyes. All that you wanted was for him to fill you up with his large He took his pants off while staring at me with a dark, thirsty look. With dark, thirsty eyes. I could see his bulge, and that made me want him even more. He then flipped me over and smacked my ass. I moaned, harder, Phil, Daddy. Ah. I moaned, getting more turned on. He aggressively took the bullet dildo out of my quivering and grabbed my hair, pulling my head back while shoving the No, showing the dildo in my asshole. Then shoved his long in me, slamming it back and forth harder, Daddy. And I screamed as the sound of skin slapping filled the room, my large tits bouncing in sync with his rough, hard thrusts. He pulled my hair back even harder. I screamed as he filled me up perfectly with his juices. Cock in my tight pussy, he got rougher, then pulled out a whip while making me in a doggy position and slapped my red ass cheeks. What was this, chapter 6? Scandalous. Ooh, there was no to be continued. Phil, Phil left me alone in the house by going on a business trip. He left me with the hot maids in their sexy ass outfits. I called one of the maids, Amanda, into my room and come to take my laundry to the laundry room. As she picked up the laundry basket, she picked up a pair of my panties with it. I like your taste, she said in a high-pitched, cute voice, while shyly looking at me. A soft pink blush spread across my pale skin as I watched her turn towards the door. Her ass was so round, her thighs were so thick. I was watching her as she walked out of the room. I bit my lip and quietly stood up, following her to the laundry room. Ooh, it's getting steamy now. Turns out Miku is incredibly fond of women as well, and not just Dr. Phil and his 9-inch. Yeah, I just realized something. Am I even allowed to put this on fucking YouTube? I, I imagine you can put literally anything on YouTube with enough censors. I mean, like that. I made that video. We made the last video in 2019. It is the modern age, you know, of Kappa and all that. Well, it's definitely gonna be marked as not for children, at least. There's no way that one's not gonna happen. But if I'm even allowed to put it on YouTube, go good. I'm gonna have to check the rules on that one. I'm mostly gonna be, you know, censoring out most of the, moments after birth, incest. As I walked in, she was bent over, showing me all that cake emoji. I walked behind her and grabbed her ass. She turned around and looked at me, blushing and shamelessly wrapping her hand around her finger. Do you need anything, ma'am? She said, looking at me with her big blue eyes. I just need you to call me mommy for tonight, princess. I squeezed her ass and she let out a high-pitched whimper. I grabbed a collar and leash from the rack and put it on her, tightening it a little tighter than normal. And then it's just a picture of, it's a picture of a very scantily made with a dildo on their ass. Made looks like this. I'm pretty sure I'm not allowed to show this one on YouTube. There's enough censors, but I'm still not gonna show it. I pulled her upstairs by the leash and threw her onto the bed. She looked at me with her big blue eyes with fear and excitement in them. Don't worry, baby. Mommy will make you feel good. Before I started doing anything, are you okay with this? She nodded and said yes. I grabbed some toys with a 0 and put a vibrator on her. She moaned softly and looked at me with her big eyes. Does that feel good, princess? She nodded and let out another moan. All of a sudden, Big Daddy Phil burst in the room. Phil, what are you doing home so early? Not important right now. What's important is that I fuck you both until you can't walk. Is that okay with you both? We both said yes, and Phil started taking off his suit. The thin clothes remaining on his body were his boxers. You could see his bulge out the front of his boxers. Fucking hell, Dr. Phil. Apparently he's quite a ride. Minna Am I saying it differently? I can't tell because I'm a fucking idiot. It's spelled Mina. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce that one. So I'm just gonna say Minna. Yeah, yeah. Don't get confused with the other one. Minna looked at me with shock and need to be to be nice. I let her have him first. I moved to the side and let Phil go on the bed. He sat in his lap. No, it's me. No, yeah, I'm just gonna keep calling Minna. I started rubbing her. He looked at me and told me to stand in front of him. I did, and he told me to stop touching myself. And what if I don't? I said, being bratty. He looked at me with a glare, then said, then he'll punish me. I was getting excited by his words, and I kept being bratty until Minna came. Phil then stood up and threw me on his bed. He was about to stick his monster in me when all of a sudden, one of the children walked in the room. We all turned our heads towards them and just sat there. She ran away screaming and crying. We all put our clothes and went to separate rooms. I called Phil later and told him to lock the door next time. Our kid didn't talk to us for 4 weeks later when we got her ice cream and a bike. To be continued. Purple heart emoji. Oh, this is a monster of a... Jesus. Part 7, Christmas dinner fun. Oddly enough, only 23 views. Sad. See, anything can be art. Except what Phil wrote. That's it's a masterpiece. Fucking hell. God damn, kill me. It's been almost 15 years of happy marriage between Miku and Phil. Since then, they had 15 more children. Jesus Christ, you going for Octomom record? Jesus. And now they have around 20 grandchildren coming in their house for every family gathering. At this year's Christmas, Phil was feeling horny and ready to fuck anyone he could. Even though he was around 45 years old and his wife was around 35. Miku spent the whole day cooking a giant meal with half the family, while the other half watched football and screamed at the TV the whole time. After tireless hours of cooking food, it was finally finished. The aroma of the food was making Phil's state worsen because of the fact his wife made it. I'm gonna need a drink for this one. Jesus Christ. Alright. Water has been intaked. And now it's time for more Miku x Phil. God damn it. Phil sat down next to Miku immediately and started messing with her. Wow, baby, you did such a good job making all this delicious food. Miku blushed. All the compliments of her cooking. Is it really that good? She questioned with a slight blush spread across her face. After the 40 years of marriage... I'm sorry, what? After the 40 years of marriage, she never got used to Phil's compliments and... Fuck! Phil was doing... What? Phil was doing it with Miku before she was even born. Before she was even conceived. Miku, yeah, they just said Miku older, around 35 years old. These retcons, you really gotta watch out for them. Yeah, these retcons, they really don't improve the story, mate. Oceanside, you gotta make sure if you're going to retcon something, do it in between chapters. Jesus, not literally 3 paragraphs. No, that's literally 2 paragraphs afterwards. Yeah, this is just fun. Yeah, I'm a fucking small ass YouTube creator criticizing the work of the Miku X Dr. Phil fanfiction some guy probably made while he was high. What a world we live in. After the 4 years of marriage, she never got used to Phil's compliments and praise. It made her feel special and like she was important. Of course I love it, baby, especially the mashed potatoes. They're so light, fluffy, creamy, and you cooked them just right to where they were almost sweet. Phil trails off at the end of his sentence, Miku looking up and down. But nothing could ever taste as sweet as you, baby, he whispered lustfully into her ear. Miku licked her lips and rubbed her legs together, looking down as she did so. Phil gave her a quick kiss on the cheek and told her to meet him in the bathroom for a minute or two. After a minute or two, Phil left the table and headed up the stairs into the bedroom to grab the remote-controlled vibrator from under the bed. He quickly made his way into the bathroom and waited for Miku to come in. After another minute or so, Phil heard a faint knock on the door. He opened it to see Miku shyly standing outside. Phil roughly pulled Miku into the bathroom and started passionately kissing her. Phil bit Miku's bottom lip, and she opened her mouth to let Phil put his tongue inside. Their saliva mixed together as they kissed, and soon they had to pull away to breathe. Alright, baby, I want to try something. I think we've done it once or twice before, but it's been a while since we've done anything sexual together. Phil pulled out the vibrator and looked at Miku for permission to do this. Yes, Phil, please. I'll make the evening interesting since all they do is talk about football and politics anyway. Yeah, you know, the average family reunion is always like that. You think your family will grow out of it, but it never happens. You don't try to fight against it, you should just join in on the fun. Jesus fucking Christ. As soon as Miku gave him the okay, he had her in a position where he could put the vibrator in most comfortably for Miku. He gave her a quick kiss on the and she let out a soft moan from the touch. Since Phil didn't want this to go wrong, it did not work. He turned to the vibrator and connected it to an app on his phone. He started messing with the intensity of it. Miku bit her lip as she tried to hold back moans from the sensation that was giving her. Well, just from your state right now, I can tell that it's working just perfectly. To be honest, it's taking everything in me not to fuck you until you forget your own name right now. Phil looked her up and down before helping her back up. As they started walking out of the bathroom, Phil decided to turn the intensity all the way up, and Miku grabbed onto the wall and let out a slight whimper. She was determined not to let it get to her, so she kept walking. Soon enough, she got down the stairs and started walking back into the kitchen. Phil turned it off again, and he could see Miku stand and sit back down in the chair. Phil sat next to her and winked at Miku. They continued eating their food, and Phil turned to the intensity on low. When it first started, Miku let out a small moan, but thankfully no one heard it, as the conversations around them drowned out the silence. Phil decided that he had had enough with a little messing around. He turned it all the way up and watched hot Miku react. She bit her lip and clenched her thighs together. Phil looked at everyone else to see if they noticed anything. Thankfully, no one looked suspicious of them at all. So Phil turned it down to the medium. He slowly slid his hand down Miku's thighs and began rubbing it. Miku looked at him with wide eyes. It looked like she was annoying with him, but it also looked like she was fucking hell, English is hard apparently. Yeah, first language, not fun. Can't read it. What's English? I don't know. It's the only thing I've been speaking my entire life. Pleaded for more. Phil turned the intensity all the way down, all the way back up, and started. The fuck was that? Oh no. It's old Saint Nick. He's come for my bones. Not children this naughty don't get cold. They get their bones removed. There you go, free creepypasta. Just made it up on the spot. As long as you can make a story out of it, you can claim it as your own property. Phil turned the intensity all the way back up and started to rub her clit along with it. Miku was whimpering and biting her lips as she continued to just try finishing their food. So Phil, how are you and the wife doing? I know we don't talk too much, but it's nice to catch up as brothers sometimes. Okay, who the hell is Phil's brother? This new mysterious character that just popped out of nowhere. Is there a side plot? Do we miss the extra special credits? The bonus episode? Sonic 3 bonus episode? Is that gonna happen? Jesus Christ. Why am I reading this? Oh yeah, April Fools. Great prank, guys, I know. Haha, you got joked on. Phil's brother... but it's nice to catch up as brother sometimes. Phil's brother states to him. Phil continued to rub Miku's clit faster as he replied to his brother. Me and my wife are doing fantastic, he just asks her. She's having a great time with the family all around right now, right, Miku? Miku froze and tried to compose herself, but the feeling to vibrate along with Phil making it too much for her. I'm doing great. Me and Phil are very happy together. Miku started out. She could feel Phil turn the intensity up to the max as she let out an audible moan from her mouth. She immediately covered her mouth afterwards and looked around to see if anyone heard her. Everyone was involved in conversation as she was in her own little world, feeling immense pleasure. Soon enough, everyone was finished the dinner, and Phil was still doing this. She had climaxed twice, needing to hide the noise and pleasure she was experiencing both times. Phil, all of a sudden, turned the intensity all the way down and stopped his movement. Miku gasped from the lack of feeling. She was feeling very needy and ready for more. She pulled on Phil's sleeve and motioned her eyes towards the upstairs bedroom. Phil understood what she was trying to say, and he and Miku both left the table, while everyone was still standing. They both ran up the stairs into the bedroom. Over the course of an hour, they both had intense. They were both thoroughly surprised that no one had heard them. After a bit of aftercare, they both went downstairs to rejoin the party. Soon, they heard the doorbell ring. Phil, you didn't invite anyone else over, did you? Miku asked, with curiosity in her voice. Not that I know of, no. Phil answered while walking towards the door. When he opened it revealed to be Karen. No, not Karen. To be continued. Miku x Dr. Phil. Last updated January 5th. I'm assuming of last year. Wow, this is great. This is great. It's a great side plot. Happy April Fools. You got fooled on, you fool. You make a fool. You just spent an hour, and you spent half an hour listening to me read a Miku x Dr. Phil fanfiction on fucking Wattpad. Why? You tell me, you fucking deranged psychopath. Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you? Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, jeez. So, that was the Miku x Dr. Phil fanfiction. Yeah, let's hope I never do this again. The B-roll footage is just some Terraria, I believe. Yeah, whatever, adventure map kind of thing. If you wanna, if you wanna, for the like 3 or 4 of you that is actually gonna see this, let me know if you want to see the rest of that. So, goodbye.